Get it underway, everybody. So we'll open the. Are we ready? Everyone good? Cool. Okay, let's get underway, everybody, for the Finance Performance Committee meeting on the 10th of February, and this is to adopt the draft annual plan. It's also where we can go through the consultation document properly, and we can discuss those to ensure everyone's relatively comfortable with it. I had hoped we would be able to delegate the consultation document sign off to Pauline, Jake, Victoria and Phil, but it sounds like potentially there isn't an appetite for that, which is, so we'll have to work through that today, because we do need to get this out by the 27th of February. So what I'll do is invite the team to, oh yeah, karakia. Let's start with karakia, please. Very good, and I think we've got everyone here. Celeste, oh yeah, Celeste, yep. So we will, so there are no apologies, no declarations of interest that I'm aware of. I think then I'll hand over to the team.
Okay, Peter? Sure.
Oh, is Bruce online now? Oh, okay. Well, I might hand over to the team, and then can you just give us a brief intro, and then I'll hand over to Bruce, and then we can go back through it.
Okay, for sure. Look, just a quick intro. The main purpose of today, of course, is to discuss and adopt the draft annual plan. There'll also be discussion around the CD to make sure that it accurately reflects the annual plan and that it's in the style and content that councillors require. I understand from the chair there that there's going to be some discussion about exactly how we handle that through delegation or otherwise. We'll need to sort that out. Just quickly how we got here. Obviously, there was an election last year and the new council being elected in October. Really, the annual plan didn't commence until early November. There's a rapid-fire series of workshops, some of them in PX, some of them are open to the public. The upshot of that was a public meeting of Finance and Performance in mid-December, 17th, in which you gave us your guidance on what the annual plan should contain, and that's what the report and CD reflect today. Probably the big significant change, sorry, I'll go back for a moment. The purpose of the annual plan for I guess, for maybe the newer councillors is to reflect changes to the LTP. Now, this will be year 3, so this will be the last one. There are relatively few changes of significant ones. And of course, we commence on the LTP basically as soon as this annual plan is out the door. So there is a choice to be made between variations that go in this annual plan and significant strategic issues for the city, which obviously go to the LTP. The changes in here include things like a reduction in the size of the capital program with an eye to both deliverability and affordability, but without affecting levels of service. That's been done. That provides a lot of confidence that next year we have a good show at actually delivering most, if not all, of the capital program. There are some changes around the Climate Resilient Fund. There are also some suggestions around potential proposals around things like iconic buildings. And there are a number of operational matters in there as well. On the housekeeping side, the report contains recommendations around some financial matters which don't directly affect services, and then of course there's the other matters that are going out for consultation in the CD. So look, I guess that's the quick history in 2 minutes of how we got here and why we're here, and I understand you probably want to throw to Bruce now.
Yeah, hey, thank you, Peter, for that. That's a really good way to set the scene. Bruce, welcome along. Good to see you online.
Great, good to be here, Sam. And
great.
Can you hear me guys okay?
Yep, good as gold, so we'll hand over.
Thank you for the chance just to catch up. And look, again, thank you, Sam. And look, I just like greetings to particularly the new councillors. I don't think I've met everybody yet, but I serve the city as the independent chair of the Audit Risk and Management Committee. And this is one of those times, particularly when the role of my committee intersects with with your role. So it's worthwhile just giving you a short briefing on that, because it relates to, I think, item 3 of the recommendations, which is that you note the assurances in effect that we are providing your committee today from the work of the Risk Committee. The Risk Committee's focus is primarily around systems and processes that keep us safe. Traditionally, and it's always been a role of the Risk Committee, we look at the systems and processes that particularly Peter and his team, but the whole organisation have put into the preparation of this annual plan, as we do with the LTP, etc. So I just really want to give a wee bit of, I guess, personal visibility to that recommendation, that you note the confidence I would hope you can take out of the work of the committee as you face today's discussion around the draft CD. There are 2 things in our paper, which is attachment A, that are important assurances for you. One is, firstly, that we have always maintained and look at the assumptions that build this annual plan. An annual plan, even though it's only for the next 12 months, is naturally looking at what you anticipate the future will be and what it will look like and how you have to react. An important part of that is actually, so what is the quality of the assumptions that you build this document on? And having looked at that, having discussed those with the relevant officers, the committee reached the conclusion that we were comfortable with the assumptions that had been built into this draft annual plan, and on which, amongst other things, for instance, the planned rate is set. The second thing that we have done, and again, it's almost mind-bogglingly large, is the system of quality control, which I think reflects well on management in the way they have approached the quality of the documents that you have in front of it. I say mine or eye-boggling is the extent of the sign-off provisions that this council goes through, and I recommend that actually all councils do that, because it, to me, is good practice. We have again looked at the nature of the sign-offs from all the various people involved, and are comfortable that those sign-offs have been carried out with due diligence and care. So that means for today, we believe as a committee you can have confidence to approach this annual plan, and particularly to be able to debate and deal with the policy issues. I want to reflect, my committee does not deal with the policy choices that you have in front of you today and are inherent in this annual plan. For instance, what you choose to consult on broadly is a policy choice. The policy choices behind the various aspects within the annual plan are yours alone to make, and not my committee's. I would reflect, though, on 2 key points that we debated in passing out a resolution that this committee could have confidence in what you have in front of you today. One is a substantial local government reform. And you folk have put in a very good submission, I think an influential submission to government, for instance, on rate capping. Rate capping doesn't impact on this annual plan. So the sorts of changes signalled, even the simplifying local government, don't affect this annual plan. So consequently, it doesn't address any of those issues directly. That's something that clearly council will have to deal much more significantly with as you put this one to bed and get into the LTP. The second thing that I would just draw reference to that we did devote a bit of time to is paragraph 5.10.2 on page 15 of at least the online agenda, which is that this has behind it a budget that is technically not balanced. The operational revenues are not greater than the operational expenditure. It's very clear why, which is that you are in a program to fully fund renewals. But I think that's by a later stage in about 2030, and until you do, you will be running an unbalanced budget. It is important that you are aware of that. It's a legislative compliance. You can and need to, in this case, agree that that is prudent but that's also picked up in your recommendations, but I draw that to your attention. Again, I think I said in the middle of this that I considered, for instance, the quality and sign-off control and approach meets good practice. And I don't say that lightly, and I just would like to conclude, Sam, by saying the committee, my committee, is giving you, I hope, the assurance and the confidence to deal with the foundational documents today. As I've noted, I don't have the right to comment on the policy choices, but the committee is able to hand this over to you so that you, as I say, have the confidence to deal with it appropriately. I think that's all I need to say. But Sam, if there were any brief questions, I'd be happy to deal with those. Otherwise, I'll let you get on with the day.
Great. Hey, thank you very much, Bruce, for that. And that's really comprehensive and paints a good overview. Does anyone have any questions for Bruce? No, you've done a great job. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you.
Oh, hang on. Sorry,
All the best for the day.
Sorry, Bruce. I spoke too soon.
That's hard to see.
I should have known better. Yanni has a question.
Right. G'day, Yanni.
Yanni?
Yeah, good morning, Bruce. Thanks for the update and the report. I'm just wondering if audit has looked at the use of program level budgets rather than specific line item budgets. This has been a concern that has been raised repeatedly by both submitters and elected members, that it is increasingly difficult for the community to make submissions on program level budgets when they do not have visibility.
By audit, I think you mean my committee. The answer is directly no, we haven't looked at that, Yanni.
Cool. Okay. Hey, thank you very much, Bruce. Much appreciated.
Okay, thanks.
Brilliant.
A lot. Catch you guys later. Have a good day.
Okay, Peter, I'll hand back to you. Is there anything else do you want to run through your sort of stuff now?
Well, just, I guess,
And then we'll go to your questions.
briefly, look, the recommendations, section 6, are a series of, I guess, mechanical recommendations around the funding impact statement, rating policies, proposed capital program. There are some minor changes to levels of service, which are, again, not material. They're not part of an overall level of service review, which is obviously part of the LTP. Financial statements, summary of grants, and of course a list of properties for disposal. So that's the internal mechanics. The things of much more interest to the community are set out in the consultation document, which is the last attachment, and that's changes to the Climate Resilience Fund, iconic buildings, and other community interest projects. I assume they'll be taken as part of the discussion around the CD, so I won't line by line them right now. But that's the two components. There's the internal mechanisms, and then there's the external items for consultation. There are relatively few of them. This is certainly not in the same scope as an LTP. And that's the two recommendations you have before you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that, Peter. So I guess now we're at the point where we've got everything there. It's just if there are any questions for staff on the draft annual plan, and if not, we'll then go to the recommendations. Yep, so we've got Victoria, Melanie, Yanni. And Tyrone. Yep.
Oh, thank you, Sam. Is now the time to bring up a question in relation to page 23? Is that okay? So I'm looking at the financial overview, thank you, Peter, and operating expenditure, where it references that there's been significant changes to what was provided in the LTP for 26-27. And the second bullet point there, you've got the comments about an increase in staff salaries and wages costs of 18.2 million, and then sort of lumped all together the reasons for that. Are you able to provide a breakdown of that 18.2, please?
I think we got Mitchell here.
Hi, Mitchell, thank you.
Thank you. So there's a number of causes for that increase. So it's across 2 years worth of changes. So it's the change since the LTP. The primary increases are the increase in inflation assumptions from our corporate increase versus what we had built in when the LTP was set. So that's around 9 million of the increase. We've had additional pay equity claims that have been resolved, so that's around 3.5 million. There's been in-housing of external staff and resource, which has added around $2 million. That's offset by decreases in other budgets. And there's been increases in staff of around circa $2 million in the revenue generating units. So those staff are bringing in additional revenue to council to offset their costs.
And the living wage adjustments, where do they fit in within that category,
They're
please?
within the inflation number.
And so that inflation is quite a large sum at 9 million.
Yes.
Does that break down at all?
I don't have that breakdown available here.
Through you, Mr Chair, Councillor Henstock, about 3%. So if you take our REM at around just sort of 280 odd million at present, you add 3%, sort of circa is the number we would work on to give an indication of, well, 3 to 3.5 gets you your 9 million in rough order.
And could I just clarify, some of that was in relation to a back pay as well as not just current?
Well, through you, and I'll might allow Mitchell to confirm, but yes, there is a period where you make the adjustment and then we build it into the budget and it has a full year impact and so on. So that is the full year impact coming through.
Thank you, Pete.
I mean, do you want a, not for now, but do you want them to take it on notice and bring back a breakdown for you?
That would be
Is
helpful,
that what you're,
thanks.
yeah. Is that, Mitchell, was that something you can do just so we got the really clear on the inflation, the living wage, and the pay equity, all that
Yes,
stuff?
yeah, we can do that full breakdown for you.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you. Okay, Melanie.
So I was just looking back through the last public annual plan presentation. One there, I have forgotten what we came to, but I had in there about an older person's advocate, and it talked about existing resources being reprioritised, but I can't remember what the result was. So can you give me a reminder of that, please?
I can't off the top of my head. I can certainly come back to you on it, but I don't have it at my fingertips.
Okay. And then in the questions for the consultation document, quite a while back, last year around community grants, we had different proposals put forward, I guess, to increase the fund and to decrease the fund, and I thought we'd got to a stage where we were leaving the fund alone, and it wasn't mentioned in the last annual plan workshop in public. So it's just wondering how we've got to the stage of just offering a decrease for people to choose from as opposed to a potential increase.
I can only answer that in general terms, and that is that I think it was part of a response to a question around a wide sweep of how can we make the rates increase more affordable. It's just one option as part of that suite of responses. I don't think it was a specifically targeted item. I think it was simply staff responding with, if we looked at ways of reducing the rates, this would be one of them, and it's now a matter for discussion.
So is it an option in the consultation document to ask people would they like to leave it the same, increase it or decrease it?
Potentially, yes. That's part of the discussion for today.
Right, thank you.
Cool. Thank you. And thank you for all the work that you've done to get us to this point. I really appreciated getting back the advice around the ticket levy at the new stadium, although I was incredibly disappointed that it's not being applied to sporting tickets, expo or community ticket events, and that our suggestion for a percentage wasn't in place. So the question I had...
Yanni, stop. So we'll get to debate later, but if you've got a question...
Yeah. So the question I had, given that the operator has chosen not to introduce the ticket levy on a number of events and agreed and not introduce the percentage, in terms of us as a council, what charge can we set to ensure that we do get a ticket levy percentage put in place to get some income to offset the massive cost and rates that's coming from the new stadium? Is that a fees and charges amendment? What is the best way for us to do that?
I think we've got an answer down here.
Thank you, Councillor. We're in the process right now of developing the operating agreement. Part of that agreement is the VO will need to pay us an operating licence fee, but they have exclusive rights to the revenue. So any revenue that council gets will be by means of that annual fee. So whether they bring in levies or introduce levies into their ticketing regime in the future is really a matter for VO.
So the single biggest thing that's creating a cost to us is we're not getting any additional offset to deal with the rates impact.
Sorry, what's your question?
So in terms of the operating agreement, will that come to council for sign-off?
Yes, it will.
And what's the date for it coming?
It's being drafted right now, and ideally we'll have it in place before the venue opens.
Okay.
Cool. Tyrone.
Kia ora. So is there any scope within the consultation document to raise things that we'd encourage the public to submit on to give a heads up to staff to start thinking about for the LTP?
Yeah, look, there's a number of items there already, and I expect there may be a few more today. It'll come up when we discuss the CD, but very broadly, CDs contain typically very sort of black and white questions, more of this, less of that. They don't really do nuance very well. They don't do complexity very well. We are going to put other options in front of you around independent surveys that get a guaranteed representative sample across the city, across demographics, that give you some certainty and credibility around the result being a fair and balanced one, and also get to the right numbers of people. So it'll be a choice for you, but yes, you can ask questions in the CD. It is a relatively blunt instrument for any kind of nuanced question, and we are going to offer you options around how you could do more complex, better data and have better quantitative and qualitative information on your option that you want to pursue. So yes, there's a couple of different ways of skinning that cat.
And I've got Mary.
And could I just clarify to add to what Peter said, the legislation is very clear about the purpose of the consultation document, and just to read from that, and I have spoken to legal about this as well, the purpose is around activities to be undertaken by the local authority in the coming year. It is not a tool, a survey tool for what you're going to do in the future in an LTP. You're best, as Peter's touched on, to do that via a survey or research method outside the annual plan. The legislation's quite clear. Annual plan is about the activities in the coming year.
But that, if I can just respond to that. Yeah,
we're not debating, so it's your questions, that's all good, but if not, we'll come to debate later.
That is a question. Yeah. So that activity might be to encourage staff to look at something though, right? Like that's within the realms of the
Yes, although the legislation, and it's just so everybody's clear, it's 95A, it does say and the effects of those activities on cost and funding, so that we do need to have sufficient information here of the cost and funding of doing that work to be able to present it well enough in the consultation document.
Okay, thank you, Mary. I'll leave that there. Can I just have a quick follow-up question, Sam? Not follow-up, but new question.
Yep.
This is actually quite bespoke, so I don't expect you guys to answer it, but I'm just going to put it out. I just note a reduction in capital program on the inner harbour route around Littleton Harbour by about $400,000 just between the current budget and the draft. So I wouldn't mind just getting some feedback on why that drop's occurred, if possible.
Okay, I see that Paul has noted the question, so we'll give him a chance to work on it a little bit, I think.
Thank you.
Just to finish up on the CD survey question, to add to what Mary said, there's also flexibility. The legislation around the CD is very clear, and you can understand why, that we must talk about the costs and implications of whatever it is you're consulting on, whereas in a survey you can be more general and flexible and explore theoretical scenarios, whereas in a CD it actually has to be quite cut and dried.
Right, okay. So there are options.
There are options, yes.
All right, thank you.
Cool, you're good, Tyrone? Cool, I'll go back to Victoria, then I've got Tyler, Pauline and Tim.
Mine's okay, thank you, Sam.
Okay, cool. Tyler?
Is this the opportunity to ask staff questions around other things?
What is it?
Traffic optimisation.
Say that again?
The traffic optimisation.
Oh, that memo that came through?
Yeah.
Yeah, ask it. Yep.
So the question I've got is, I'm actually okay with it going into the Life and Christchurch survey. That's cool. The question I've got is around the scope in which the consultation is going to be at, because you were focusing on the CBD predominantly, within that briefing itself. However, I think, I don't know about Sam and myself, it's more around the suburban routes, like the Straven roads, the Fendleton roads, the Memorial Labs, Riccarton roads, etc. Would there be opportunity to be able to put that into the Life in Christchurch survey? And do we need to put anything in writing for the consultation document?
The short answer is that we can basically put anything into that survey. At the moment, from a transport point of view, we ask a question that is like a follow-up to the residents' survey question around road condition. Tell us where you're dissatisfied with the condition of the roads, and that is a very open question. People can tell us whatever they want, so I don't see that we would limit that in Life in Christchurch at all. We would open it right up, and then we'd sort it when it came in at the other end and provide the information to these guys.
So within that questionnaire, because I remember the road condition ones, it can be associated to traffic, correct? Okay, cool.
Yep.
Through the chair, in addition to that, we can put in some prompts around right turning and pedestrian protection, because they were two key areas that we have been putting some focus on, and there's been a fair bit of noise around. So they're two areas that we'd look at particularly, and those two areas would impact your suburban connector routes predominantly more than the CBD as well.
Cool. Sweet. Thanks, Stephen.
Cool. You good, Tyler?
The next one's about graffiti.
Yep.
That's right. So I saw the memo, and I really appreciate the memo. After, I guess, my last term, I have understood that whenever there is something to say that it's going to be coming into the next year, then it then gets pushed into the year after that or the long-term plan. I'm wondering at what tools we could utilise right now to be able to get the ground running, to get the ball rolling, come the long-term plan to be able to initiate a graffiti program as soon as the LTP signed off.
Who would be the best person to answer that?
It's a process thing, really.
Might be. Oh, here we go. Andrew Rutledge.
Thank you, Councillor. There is already...
Okay.
Look, I think the question was answered not necessarily on the mic, but look, this is just an adjustment to a level of service. It's actually probably something you don't have to wait for a signed off LTP to look at. It's not either a material level of service or in a material activity. So it's something that the committee, for example, could adjust on the fly at any time.
Yeah, just to be clear, and I think the memo states this. It's because the request is advice in time for the final annual plan to adjust the levels of service. So I think that is, as Peter's just reiterated, and I mumbled to him, I should be clear, but I didn't have a mic close to me at the time, is that if we can get advice back to you in time for the final annual plan, you could adopt it and put it in as long as it's not a significant financial impact. It's because it's just an adjustment to level of service. It's not a new service. It's not a major investment. It's not a new level of service.
I see. Okay, cool.
Cool. Great. Pauline, and then Tim, and then Yanni.
So all the suggested savings through the consultation document that we're consulting on, when we've signed off the draft, they're not baked in already, are they? They're not baked, so maybe that should be pointed out. Do you want general questions on the CD now?
I think we'll come to the CD because I suspect others will have, yeah.
Okay, so I think that's all I've got for... Oh, well, maybe I should ask this one about the surface, the three waters, if that's all right. So
yep.
I'll just find the badge. So when we're looking at all the, obviously the eyes are all on council's water infrastructure, particularly around the country at the moment for obvious reasons. Is it a good idea for us to be moving out budgets and pushing water renewals out that we're going to do, which is on page 10, I think, reprioritising work, moving out 9 million for wastewater renewals. I'm a bit concerned about that and the effect it's going to have on our infrastructure. Can anyone guide us on that?
Is Gavin here? Gavin's here. I imagine Gavin, not that I'm going to answer for you, but this will be part of what council asked around the whole deliverability of capital program.
Correct. It's not unpacking our.
Oh, have you got a mic there?
So no projects are being delayed. We're just rephasing some budgets across the whole program, so that the forecasted spend is what we are allowing budget for. So no projects are being delayed or held up due to the change in the.
And if you got ahead of, if for some reason you had an absolute blinder and it worked really well, you'd come to us and say, hey, I want to bring forward budget.
Yeah, it's our intention to hopefully do that next year.
Yeah, good.
So some sort of assurance to the public on that would be quite welcome in the document. And just another question on the cycleways, pushing them out as well. Is that to do, all of those cycleways mentioned in there, Northern Line, Norwest Arc, South Express, Heathcote Express, are they all to do with Kiwi Rail challenges? Or is there another reason to push them out? Sorry, that is page 11 on the CD. Adjust budget timing for a number of major cycleway projects to reflect when the project will be delivered and payments made. So is it NZTA or is it Kiwi Rail that are the reason for this? Or is it deliverability again?
Sorry everybody, Stephen and I are playing a bit of tag team today. It won't be NZTA, it will be, it'll be Kiwi Rail. All of them have got Kiwi Rail implications.
Okay, well perhaps
it's my recollection.
Well, it'd be good to get a really definite answer on that because I don't support, deferring MCRs. I think we've got to get that one project done.
We're not deferring them. We're realigning when the money's going to be spent. So that's just what we do each time we do an annual plan. We look at how the projects are progressing, when we think we're going to spend the money, and we realign them, the budgets to suit the expected expenditure.
But it affects the timing of deliverability. That's what you're talking about.
Well,
realigning it to when the budget's ready.
Well, when we're going to spend the money, so it aligns with deliverability. It doesn't affect deliverability. So the budget there might be $100 of budget this year, but we're only going to spend 50. So we're pushing 50 out to next year because we know we're going to spend it next year. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to? Yeah, it does.
So we're not changing what the profile is for deliverability. We're changing when the money to suit. So rather, if you look at it like that, we're putting the money when we think we'll deliver, and that's what the change reflects. And if I've understood correctly, those are projects that have Kiwi Rail elements to them, and they may take longer.
Okay, well that's a comfort. Okay, and the other one I do have is around the iconic buildings, which I've previously supported putting them into one basket and trying to get some government co-funding on those, but I'm just wondering, because of the timing of this, it's going to really heavily impact the museum project, because we're actually looking at this one to make a decision for the LTP. So getting feedback now, going to the government if people support it, and then putting it into the LTP. So what impact is this going to have on the museum if we can't put any funding in for this annual plan, which is, I think, what they were really wanting. I mean, they wanted an answer before Christmas so that it didn't interrupt their pipeline of work. They didn't get that. Now their pipeline's interrupted, and I believe there's cost impacts there. So do we want to discuss whether we pull the museum out and put that as a separate consultation for the annual plan, while leaving it in there as a bid to government as well? I don't know, Mary might answer me.
But my understanding is they haven't approached government yet.
Yeah, look, all of their financial forecasts for their contracts are aligned with council's current thinking, and as it's suggesting that we send money, if we are to spend money on those projects, it would start in the long-term plan. So we're working very closely with the entities to make sure that the financial forecasts are aligned.
So they're
So
fully
when the cash flow is required.
So they're fully comfortable with this approach as well?
It causes a small delay to their program, but they've got all the funding they need for their current contract, and then there's potentially a small delay between this contract and the next contract, which is the fit out for the museum. So there is a small cost to that.
Yes, a delay. But the fit out was always going to be the very last tranche of fundraising for the museum anyway.
There's fundraising, but they're still requesting contributions from both the Crown and Council.
Okay, so you're telling me that they're comfortable with this approach?
The information that's in there is that we have aligned cash flow forecasting. Yes.
All right. Thank you. Yep.
I've got Tim, Yanni, Nathaniel, then Jake.
Yeah, sorry, you mentioned about the consultation document that we're going to talk about that later. My question's about that, but we've been asking, there've been a few on it, so I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, if it's about the issue as opposed to the document.
It's just about some of the wording and just under climate resilience fund.
That's probably the document itself. Okay, so I'll make you first when we get to the.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, man. No. It's. I've got Yanni. Actually, Yanni, I'll come back to you. I'll go to Nathaniel, then Jake, and then we'll end with Yanni.
Just taking on to what Pauline was asking about, as far as the legal justification goes with the heritage building. So, because the heritage building is about something that's not in the annual plan, right? That we're asking, should we put it in the long-term plan? So how do we justify that in line with the LGA requirement that we're consulting about something that's in the annual plan?
I need to check what's in the consultation document, but again, this is an activity that we have funding for, that we currently do. It's very clear we support, so it's an activity that we would be intending to do during the year. So I'll need to look at the wording carefully in the consultation document and review that to make sure, and I'll work with legal.
It's quite a significant amount.
What we'll do is we'll take that one and come back after the break.
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
Following on, I think you have me next.
Yeah,
Following
Jake.
on from Pauline's question, that small delay that you speak of, are you able to quantify how much in dollar terms that is, and has that been factored into?
So let's take. Can we take both? Why don't we take both of those questions and come back after the break so we're dead certain before we move further? I've got Yanni and then Melanie.
I was just coming back to the sort of program level budgets. For example, if you look on page 80, we've got the sports field network plan and goals, and then we've got budget allocated, but we don't have any visibility of which parks when. So the issue that I'm trying to understand how to address is I've got Wainoni and Linwood parks that the community are asking for lighting upgrades, but I don't understand how we access the sports network field funding to actually get it done. And I don't know what to say to those groups in terms of making submissions, because they can't see what else is on the list. Is there a way that we could consult or get a little bit more visibility so that the local clubs can make submissions and be informed of what the plans are? And I know that we've talked to the RSOs.
Okay, So question asked. Rupert, is there anything you can add?
Yeah, the best way to do that is for the clubs to talk to their RSOs, and they feed that information into us. And we have put together a 3-year program of what's going to be delivered in the next 3 years. So we've got that, working with the RSOs at the moment. So as we've presented that information to you in the past, outlining the next key projects.
Okay, but are our staff telling these clubs that? Because we just had them coming to community board repeatedly for park upgrades, and we also had the club come in here to council in Hallswell, I think it was.
That's something that we can work on with our communication, making sure that they know the right channels to go through. So happy to follow that up.
Right. So if we wanted to get budget allocated for specific sports field lighting, what is the best way that we prioritise that? Is it through the sports network plan, or is it in the RSOs, or is it through the draft annual plan?
It's probably through the sports network plan. Yep, so back through the RSOs and we can consider where it sits on the priority list.
So, okay, so the final question from me then is, will there be a decision-making report that we approve at a governance level around what those priorities are?
I don't believe so. I think we would just bring a memo to inform you of what the projects that we've agreed to do with the RSOs as via the sports network plan.
So just so I've got it clear in my mind, Ruben, so what you're saying is we effectively have a 3-year program that's been agreed with external groups, effectively the groups that lead the sporting networks within their codes, and we work through it like that.
That's correct.
So if they want changes, they would feed it through the RSOs.
Correct.
And then they work from there. Okay, seems, yep.
Can I just ask then, given that some of those priorities have been set, why are they not referenced within those program level budgets? And if you look on the page, you see places like Hallsville have got a line item, you've got Higley Park with a line item.
Because they've just been drawn down into that specific project once they've been agreed, once it's time to draw it out of the program level into those specific projects that are being delivered at the moment.
Right. So none of the money in the sports network field plan that we've got on our draft budget has been allocated to a specific project yet. In those ones, in terms of
Yes, it has with Hallsville and Old Boys. Hagley, but we don't want to draw the money down until we've scoped the project appropriately and draw the right amount of money down to that project.
Sorry, just to be clear, there's multiple sports field network plan line items at a program level. Then there's also a specific line item for Hallsville. That's not counting twice. Like, that's not the same money.
No, that's drawn out of specific goals out of the sports field plan into that project.
So just the line items relating to the goals. I'm just trying to understand if that money has been allocated or not.
Sorry, I'm a little unsure about that. So once the project's been allocated, it gets drawn down to the specific project.
Okay.
Yeah. So effectively, we have a budget, we agree it with the external bodies, then once it's drawn down, it goes in as a line item.
Yeah. Correct.
Cool. So clear as mud, hasn't changed for 20 years. Let's keep moving.
But except we get
Melanie?
submissions, and then we can't access the funding.
Yeah, because we've been told they submit through the RSOs, and the RSOs determine what are the priorities for their code. Unless I've got that wrong, but I don't. Yeah. Okay, Melanie, and it can't be on RSOs, please.
No, so on page 10 of the consultation document, but I'm asking questions about the content. So it talks about under community facilities moving out budgets for curbside monitoring, 2.2 million. What exactly is that? What's curbside monitoring? Is that the...
Sorry, the boomerang. That's the resource recovery monitoring of the curbside bins.
Oh, like gold stars?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. Right, and then the next question I've got is under the three waters on the same page. So we're moving out 9 million for wastewater to coordinate area in the northeast, which that's okay, I suppose. We're moving out 12.9 million for water supply pumps for when they will be delivered, which makes sense. But then we're adding additional budget for reactive wastewater and water supply renewals, which on the one hand is good because we want to react to those things. On the other hand, that is concerning because where's the plan to be reducing this reactive stuff so that I know there's a ton of it and there's a million old pipes and a lot of it's in my area, but where's the plan to have less reactive and more planned? More investment. Yeah, we need to be investing where we know the stuff is instead of, we're constantly reacting. I know it's a huge issue and it's actually going to get a lot worse.
All right, so you've asked a question, so let's ask Gavin.
So we are spending approximately 40 million a year in wastewater renewals. So that budget that you see there was we've always, the reactive's always been there. We just created a separate line item. So we have, instead of pulling down from the planned renewal budget, we have a standalone budget for reactive works. That's standalone.
How much did we spend on reactive last calendar
Well,
year.
that budget you see there would be approximately what we spend per year, so we're just reflecting what we anticipate to spend next year. But the renewal program is aimed to reduce the reactive works that we have.
Yeah, well, I guess I would rather see us more go into the planned stuff so that we end up with less reactive, right? I know it's
Yep.
a long... Yeah. What's the plan over the next few years, I guess?
Well, the next LTP will revisit our forecast for renewals to continue to reduce those reactive, what we spend on reactive each year. So we may come back and ask for more renewals, or we may not, but we'll go through that in the LTP.
Okay.
Yep.
And then Tyrone.
Just a clarification for Mary. You said the annual plan, but did you mean the long-term plan in terms of the graffiti program?
No, the memo requested information for the in time for the annual plan.
Yeah. So it's saying that...
And if it's too significant a change, it couldn't be done at the annual plan. It would need to be referred into the LTP. But what it appears you're suggesting at the moment is only a minor change to the level of service and not a significant financial commitment.
So that means I could put something into this one. Is that what you're... Is that what...
No, you probably don't even need to consult on it. You have a resolution there,
Yeah.
and you can make amendments at the final annual plan, as you do year on year, on matters that you haven't necessarily heard from.
I'm really interested that's not any material impact in terms of more money going towards, potentially more money going towards the graffiti program.
So just remember that we are dealing with a $1.6 billion budget in council. So a small variation in budget to graffiti would not be deemed to be significant since it's an activity you do, and you have feedback on it. You know, it's just an adjustment. It depends, as I said, it depends on the scope of that change.
Of course. Okay. And the Riccarton wastewater interceptors for Brent, is that right that we've saved $2 million from that?
I think it's more in the line of it's approximately about $4 million in a budget.
That was saved.
Yes.
Okay. And where does that money go?
Potentially back to program.
Okay.
Maybe to be able to allocate it to other projects.
Okay. And it doesn't go within the same ward. Just being clear.
Not necessarily. It's where the need is.
Whatever's ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Thanks.
Just so you're aware, Tyler, we had a discussion at Audit... Thanks, Kevin. That's good as gold. We had a discussion at Audit and Risk last week, I think it was, around, when you do get savings within those projects, the mechanism by which council can make decisions on where that's spent, because, we don't want to slow things down because we want to keep the deliverability up, but there might be choices council want to make as well. So the team are coming back with some info. Yep. Yeah, Audit and Risk. Yeah. Okay, Tyrone, Celeste, then Pauline.
Sorry, this is just really technical, kind of in the weeds stuff, just about the phases that projects are at in the capital program. For the sort of the $8 or $9 million worth of projects for next year that are at the closed phase, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that they've finished, or we're still working on it? I mean, I'm just unclear as to what that would be.
Help Paul, or have a mic.
Projects in the closed phase generally have reached practical completion, but they haven't finished the final parts of the project.
Right.
So it's just completing.
So they're still live. No, that's cool. It's only a little bit. Just to add, but and conversely, like the stuff at the concept phase, are we confident that I mean, knowing good things take time at council is a polite way of putting it, I guess. But can things go from concept phase to completion within a financial year?
Yeah, a smaller project can, yes. Yeah. But it also gives us the pipeline for the following year, so that we're looking to get some of the concept stuff into design and maybe procurement, depending on the nature of the project, so that it's ready for delivery in the following year.
All right.
So it's developing that pipeline of work.
No, that's good. All right, thank you. Cheers.
Cool. Celeste, and then Pauline, and then we'll move on.
This might be a Nigel question. I'm just looking at the consultation document, page 10. It talks about rephasing the work to align with deliverability for the QE2.
Do you reckon you could, sorry,
I'm a bit far
yeah,
away.
is it all right?
Yeah, just looking at the changes to the budget for QE2 specifically. There was 5 million there. I just wondered if you knew any detail around that. It's around the community facilities, page 10 of the consultation document. I can come back if you need a bit of time. Thanks.
Cool. Why don't we'll come back after the break with those other questions as well, or whenever we get the information. Okay, Pauline, and then
Yeah,
we'll...
sorry, mine's just on the moving out 10.7 for the surface flooding reduction program. So that's pretty much half of the budget allocation that we put in for the 10-year plan, the long-term plan. So what is the reason for that? What is the hold-up with this piece of work? And I have to ask these questions because we've got communities really waiting for solutions here, and it is taking a long time. And secondly, what does moving out mean in all of these? Do we need to put what year we're moving them into? Do people have some oversight on what's actually happening?
So I think Brent's got the answer here.
Good, Brent. Where are you?
Yep. Yeah, Councillor, so it is around, you may remember when the team came in, they presented the quick wins and the ones we could do straight away that didn't need much design and investigation. When we get the next tranche through that we're working on, it's moving the money. You're not losing money, but moving the money to align with when we think those projects will be ready to go. So you're
I
not going to
understand that, but do we need a guidance of when that's going to be? Like that could mean moving it out into a future LTP. Who knows?
It could be. I mean, yeah. How long's a piece of string? Some of these ones take a lot of investigation work in terms of catchment modelling. Some don't. So. I can try and find some more information on that for you. And
if we're saying we're moving money out, not just in this budget but others,
yep.
Where are we putting it?
But it's just being rephased. I mean, correspondingly this year, that money wasn't going to kick in till originally I think 2027. We've actually brought a whole lot of money forward in that program so we could do design work. So it's whatever's ready at the time. Okay, so we're keeping the same amount of money, but trying to, and we fully understand what you're saying about the communities are waiting for the stuff, but some of those catchments are complex. Some of the catchment works, for example, St Albans Creek, hopefully we can even look at how we can do a larger scheme that, do one scheme that'll benefit 3 or 4 areas. So that's why some of the things have to be moved around.
So, look, thank you. That's a really good answer, and all these questions have been really helpful because we are going to have to explain the rationale of all of these to our people, so it's really helpful. Thank you.
All right, so we've now... Has anyone got... Yanni? I don't even have to say questions.
Yeah, we had a workshop, and sorry, I just can't recall the date, and there was discussion around looking at consulting on a rate for derelict buildings and structures. So a number of us have these abandoned... or derelict, eyesores in the communities, in the residential areas. I was just wondering, is there anything that we can do as part of this draft annual plan to consult on that, or is that being put into a separate process? I recall last time with Central City, we did consult on the vacant. Right.
That one. Yes, that wasn't long ago. We did consult on the city vacant one, and the reason we consulted on that, which was quite narrow at the time, not derelict, was because it was legally more straightforward to define what we meant. We do have an action coming from that workshop last month, I think, to look into ways we could potentially do something similar or include derelict buildings. I think my response at the time was, personal view, I think that's legally difficult, but it's an action point. We have to look into it and see what we can do. But there's nothing we can consult on for this. And I suspect I might get guidance from some other one legal in the room. I suspect it wouldn't be material enough to require separate consultation depending on how we define it. If we just build it into the city vacant, it might not be sufficiently material to require consultation. If it's something different, then it will. So it's still an action, unfortunately, but not for this plan.
But we have put in place higher rates for New Brighton and other areas just on vacant land?
All vacant, yes.
But it's not the old, like, dirty 30 that we had in the central city?
Yes, the old blight properties, the derelict ones that nothing's happened to them, they've always been difficult for us, and we haven't been able to include those to date in the city
I think
vacant
Bede
rate.
might have something here too.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Councillor Hens, I don't think that's something we can put into the annual plan at the moment. As Steve Ballard's pointed out, there's still some more work to do, and we wouldn't have the information available in order to for you to make a decision under the requirements of the LGA. So it would have to be deferred at this point.
Cool. I've got Celeste, then Aaron, and then Mark. Did you have a question? You didn't? On that Ames Road? Or have you asked someone? I just saw your ear. It's probably good too, because so just so everyone's good, what I kind of want to do is get all the questions that aren't related to the consultation document on the table. After that, we're going to move 1, 2, 3, and 4, which are just noting provisions. We'll then suspend standing orders. We'll get everyone to flag their amendments. Then we're going to have a break. Then we're going to come back, answer the questions that haven't been answered, then go through the amendments, and then go through the consultation document, because we want people to spend a bit of time on the consultation document. So that's kind of the plan. So I've got Celeste, then Aaron, and then Mark, and then let's see if we can get to moving these resolutions.
This might be a Brent question. I'm not sure, or Stephen, but in regards to transferring budget from the chip seal, reseals program, so on and so forth, which is on page 11 of the consultation document, it's just hard to see what, again, it's similar to the water question. If we're moving budgets around but we're not adding in budget, because obviously asphalt's four times more expensive, what are we doing less than the other programs of work? So I'm concerned that we're ending up spending a lot more on OPEX, but we're falling behind on the other stuff. So this might be one for after the break, because probably just needs a bit more information.
Aaron?
Yeah, mine was just a follow-on from Yanni's. Just to clarify, on those properties that are derelict or whatever, they're not getting clear land rates, are they? They're paying full, either commercial or residential rates. If there's a building there, or is there a trigger at some point where you can go, no, the building's no longer in use, and you get clear land rates? Just a clarity on that.
They'll be paying normal rates. Yep, same.
Right, so if there's a crappy old shop that they've had an insurance claim on, so it has no value, there's no chance they're getting clear land rates, they're paying for the full shop.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, just that's good.
Cool. Okay, Mark?
Thank you. I've just been asked a question a day or two ago around the Amy's Awatea Springs intersection and wanting to have confirmation that there's a sufficient budget to keep that moving through this annual plan cycle. So it doesn't grind to a halt. So is there any answer we can have on that one, perhaps?
There we go. Through the chair, we have enough budget on the plan to do our planning, design, and go through the consultation exercise. Following that, we will have a better understanding of the likely cost estimate of the project, and then we'll be looking to the LTP to fund the construction of it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any more questions? Okay, no, there aren't. So what we'll do, can we just bring up 1 to 4 on the recommendations, just so everyone's clear. So these are they're not controversial. It's literally receiving the report and then 3 noting ones. I'm happy to move those. Jake's happy to second them. Does anyone... Well, there's nothing to discuss, so we'll put that to the vote. All in favour, say aye. Against, that's carried. Right, so now we'll suspend standing orders. So again, I'm happy to move that. Jake's happy to second it. All in favour? Against, that's carried. So now, what we'll do is I would quite like... Sam, are you happy if I get amendments flagged?
Yeah, it just needs to get Rick's 5 and 6 just on the table.
Oh, right. Yep. Okay, oh yeah, so 5 and 6 on the table. So I'll move them, Jake will second them. This is just to put 5 and 6 on the table. We're not voting on them now, but that'll... So now, So just so everyone's clear, we've got the staff recommendation on the table along with the second one, which is approves and adopts for consultation the draft annual plan. So 5 and 6. So now can we just go around and flag any amendments people have, and then we'll take a break. The team can pull together what they need to, and then we'll come back and work through all that stuff at that point. So can I just go around the table, perhaps? Does it? None from you, Pauline. Any?
So no, this is not any wording in the document.
Yeah, this is just amendments to the plan, not the consultation document. Perfect. Aaron? No? Yanni?
Yeah, so I was really keen to get progress on Linwood Park and Winoni Park Sportfield lighting upgrades, but I do wonder whether, given what we heard, where we're not actually making annual plan decisions on budget priorities for sports fields, that's a separate process. I do wonder if we can get some advice around how we could actually progress it.
So just so I'm clear, what's your amendment?
Well, the amendment was that Linwood Park and Winoni Park be added to the program list of sports field lighting upgrades as part of the sports network plan in FY 26-27. But I'm told that the RSOs are the ones that give the input and then the staff prioritise, not us.
So is it still an amendment or not?
Well, I just wanted to seek some advice from staff. If we wanted to regress those ones, what's the best way?
It doesn't sound like it can be put, but yeah, but let's have a tour break. But
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The
So
next one.
No, don't worry, because it can't be put. We've got an agreed process for priorities across the city. So I would, on the basis, ruling it out. But let's get some advice over morning tea.
The second one was that the Improving Bromley Roads project budget does not be deferred. So this is just pretty simple. It's a straight budget one. The third one is that the Kiwi Rail Scruttons Road crossing.
Just wait. Just hold up a second, man. So you've got that one. You've got that. Cool. What's your third one, Yanni?
That the Kiwi Rail Scruttons Road crossing budget be reduced by $5 million across all years.
Cool. So you've got that. Great.
The fourth one was that $5 million be put into supporting Weaving the East in FY 26-27 with $2.5 million, and in FY 27-28 with $2.5 million.
Is that, so just so I'm clear, is that to consult on them or just to put into the budget?
No, it's to put a line item in the budget to support that program.
Okay, and where's that money coming from?
I mean, that's up to council, but, you know,
Well,
I've given a
I'm just wondering, I guess the thing is, it's like we kind of agreed on, so is that OPEX or CAPEX?
That would be, well, it would depend what it would go towards.
I'm hearing
really.
OPEX from ELT. Yeah. Right.
Okay. So yeah, it would be OPEX. Yeah.
So can I just so I've got it clear, what would the rating? Well, we can come back, but what would the rating implication be of 1%? That's what I'm hearing. Okay. Any other amendments, Yanni?
I did have the council consult on a derelict building land rate, and I'm still puzzled why we did that for the dirty 30, but we can't do it for the residential. But we've heard the advice, so I guess there's another process. I'll just withdraw that one.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Thanks.
All right, so you're good. So we'll work through those. Thanks, Yanni. That's really useful. Kelly, anything from you? Nothing from you? David? No? Tyler?
Yeah, I'm keen to remove that resolution that I had in regards to the graffiti program. It was asking to consult. I just put it out.
I don't think it's in the Rex as it stands. But we can check. Okay, good to know. We can. That's yep.
But yeah, just I wanted to gain some clarity just quickly before I do that. Was around even if it has a 0.01 impact on rates in terms of the levels of service or materiality, is the council okay with that happening, pushing that through without community consultation?
Not to be sort of flippant about it, but I mean it's a very small amount of money for a BAU graffiti program.
Yeah, I know.
So
but at the moment we're trying to do our best to hold really firm on the rates impact.
Debatable, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's really gaining community permission on.
Let's circle back after the break.
Yeah,
so let's
that's fine.
and you can be clear on that at that point. You happy? Cool. So you're all good. Celeste. Now these will be cost savings, I know.
They're all cost savings, you'll be pleased to hear. I'm going to save us some money on roads by spending less on OPEX.
Yep.
No, most of mine I'm just getting a bit more advice on. Do you want me to run through them now? Because some of them might not actually work. They're mostly noting provisions to get advice.
Yeah, so all amendments on the table now. So
Okay,
yep.
sure. So the first noting provision is around just noting that North Beach Memorial Hall needs to be looked at as part of the long-term plan. It's a board priority. The building itself needs a bit of capital funding. So it's just getting the advice in time for the draft long-term plan.
Right, okay. Have you got that?
Sorry, we didn't hear that.
It might just be that mic. Do you want to just
Sorry?
talk? Yeah.
Here we
I
go.
find pull it down a fraction, it might help.
Like
Yep,
I'm
cool.
on TV. Yep, so that's a noting provision just to get a bit of advice. The next one is...
Okay, sorry, can you just repeat it? They couldn't hear you.
I've emailed them through, so this is just for the table.
And people... Yeah.
Sorry, what was
you
that?
They've got to be on the table. So,
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I'll read it out then. It notes asset conditions at the North Beach Memorial Hall, resolves to come back as part of the draft long-term plan with advice on costs. There's one around the MCR. It's asking for...
Hang on. Oh, sorry, Celeste. What? The wording's... telling me the wording's...
It might be easy just to flag them in general and then put the because I've got the specifics through.
Well,
because
they're
some of these-
different. So sorry to be
Yeah.
technical about it, but if there are amendments, they need to be put on the table so that everyone can watch online and see as well. So can you just tell me the wording you want put?
The moment I'm getting staff advice, so the wording was
Well, it
going to be
doesn't-
finalised during the break. Is that not an option?
No. So
Okay,
if it's
sure.
an... I mean, you won't... You know, not to be flippant about it, but you won't need advice on a noting provision. So...
Okay, sure.
So what's the actual... Is the noting provision what you've just said or
Yeah.
what you've emailed?
I've just updated it to make it a noting provision based upon the latest advice
Right.
from staff.
So is that clear, Sam? No. So can you just circulate to them the one you've just said?
Yep, sure.
Yep, cool.
No problem. I'll just... Sam, I'm just moving up to 4, if that's okay. So this is around the MCR. So notes opportunities to align stage 3 of the MCR route with other major capital projects, and funding is already on budget for planning in FY 26 and 27 for this work. Request staff as part of the business case to identify and cost options, including at least one high-level transitional rapid delivery option capable of early implementation.
Okay, you've got that. You'll come back and yeah.
And then request staff to report back on options prior to the adoption of the draft annual plan.
What for? For that. So, but we'll need advice on the budget. Did these come? I'm assuming these have been in the system for a week or something.
Yep. Yeah.
No, they haven't.
Through the chair, there's Transport only received some of these at 9 minutes to 9 this morning.
Right. Yeah. So some of them won't be capable of being put just
Sure.
on the lack of advice today.
There's a memo in relation to some of these, so I'm just recapturing some of these. I've just updated them slightly.
Yeah. Was it? Oh, actually, don't worry. Okay. Next one.
Sure. So the pages road ancillary works. So that's just notes the estimated cost of the ancillary works and resolves to allocate the 14 million of the non-NZTA works to enable coordinated delivery alongside the main bridge project in the draft LTP. So that's basically just putting the money on budget for
We're doing an annual plan, aren't we? Yeah.
So that would be a report back, I assume.
Yeah. So we'll come back with some advice if we can today, but if not, or yeah.
Just saying, given that these aren't to be built into the annual plan, some of them you could get advice and they could
Yeah.
come to a subsequent council meeting may be the best option.
Yeah,
rather
that's
than
fine.
try to debate them today.
Yeah. Cool.
Final one, notes the removal of funding for streetlight level service improvements. So that's the capital. Resolves to allocate 200k this financial year for capex upgrades to identified gaps in the citywide network.
So is that a specific project or just in the program?
Basically, we took the money out. We're just putting it back in.
Yeah. So it's so 200 grand to capital.
Yeah.
But not for a tagged project, or is it for a tagged project in your
Well,
area?
potentially looking at projects. So you'd just do it the same with footpath program, prioritising them across the city.
Yeah.
So where there are identified gaps.
Yeah. So it's going to the program, not to a project. Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
Thank you.
So they're all sent through. Yep. Perfect. Thank you, Celeste. That's cool. Tyrone? No. Nathaniel?
Yeah, just the option 1 listed in the staff memo on consulting on community housing and homelessness. So just happy with the wording that was provided by staff. So
Is that around the separate survey?
yeah, oh no, we included within the annual. So option, I'll just read it, I suppose. Yeah. So this is from the staff memo. So option 1, consulting in the annual plan, that council could proceed with including a limited number, maximum of 2 questions in the annual plan, and they have provided advice on 2 questions. So the wording that the detailed wording in the memo.
Yep.
I'm happy just without
So
change.
just
to
so I've got
include
it clear
that.
in my mind, you're saying we'll consult. You want to add that to the consultation for the annual plan, not do the standalone
That's
consultation.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's have that. We'll just note that as an amendment, and we'll get advice after the break because it didn't sound like the most effective way to actually consult.
Yeah,
but
the advice offered 2 options, one of which was using the annual plan with a limited number of questions, or option 2, more detailed research. So my preference and what I'm moving is that we proceed with option 1.
Yeah. You know, that's fine. We'll get advice after the break. Okay, Mark,
I'm happy with the answer I got.
you happy? Tim, happy? Mel?
To increase the Strengthening Communities Fund by 3.1% to account for inflation.
So you've got increase the. Cool. So they'll come back with advice on the financial implications of that.
Nothing.
Jake, you're good. Phil?
Just following along from what Yanni said, I tend to agree with him to haul that $5 million out of the Kiwi Rail budget, and God knows where it goes, but I would suggest putting it towards the heritage thing, because correct me if I'm wrong, Scrutton's Road's already rated for, so if we pull it back, it's back in our hands and we can put it into...
It'd be capital, so we'll borrow it,
Yeah, but it's already rated for there. What I want to do, if possible, is put an amendment up similar along those lines, removing the $20 million from the transfer station at Styx and put it into the Heritage Fund. Right. Because then it's already rated. We can't do that because we've rated for it. I don't want to waste the money spending it there, and it'll be better for the whole city if that 20 million went into, and then we've got some skin in the game. But we'll talk about it afterwards.
Yep.
I was happy to just reduce the Kiwi Rail stuff by 75% if we can, but
Okay, so
there's a lot of money there.
Yeah, so that's your only one. So we'll get advice back on that after the break. Yanni, did you have one more? Sorry.
My understanding is that we're not able to reduce the quantum that we've had to put on budget for the Kiwi Rail required improvements, but it's significant. And I did ask through the workshops and the process if we could get a decision-making report around doing that. That was advice as part of last year's annual plan, I think, because we weren't able to move amendments. So I just wanted to support in terms of the mayor reducing those Kiwi Rail budgets. There is a huge amount of money there that we should be looking at, but I just don't know what the process is.
So that's not an amendment today, though, is it? No. Okay, so I think we're pretty much, so all the amendments are on the table. That's good. We might take a break now, and what we'll do is we'll take the break. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. Really? Can we stop? Can we bicker over the tea break rather than in public? We've been doing so well this morning. So what we're going to do, Tim, are you nearly ready? Yep. So what we're going to do is take a break now. We're going to get answers to the questions that were asked before. We're then going to get the advice on the amendments. We'll go through them, and I'll be able to indicate whether they're ruled out or ruled in. And at that point, we'll then go through the amendments. And then at that point, I'd quite like to stop, go through the consultation document, and make Joss earn her keep by going through that. And then let's see if we can get to a point where we can largely agree on that today as well. So let's do that. Then we'll wrap it up and vote on the actual annual plan. It'll depend. So how? 11:15. Do you want 25 minutes? Half an hour. So if we come back at 11:15, yep. Going to reconvene the meeting yet. Can we just clear the room for 5 minutes and just have the councillors in here with Mary and a couple of teams? So can we just clear the room 5 minutes with the team, please? What we're going to do now is go through the amendments that have come through, and we'll get them up on a screen in a second. So what we'll do is we'll go through them. If there are questions on them, we can ask the questions, and then we're going to have just one very generic, one debate on the amendments, and we'll vote on these, and then after that, hang on a sec, and then after that, we're going to go to the consultation document, and then at the end, we'll do the vote on the annual plan and a final debate on the annual plan. Cool. Yep, so we're going to vote on each, and we've got Votendo set up, so that will come through. So, Tim had a question, and then we'll go through them.
So these amendments are acceptable to the process?
Correct.
So
yes.
So we can ask questions on... Yep.
Correct, yeah. So the ones that are up have been either they're ruled inconsistent and able to be put, and the others, a lot of them have been withdrawn after discussions with the mover to avoid, so that's been cool. Okay, yours was the first to be removed. Okay, so let's start with, so the first one is the housing one. So that's, Yeah, so that's request. So just so everyone can see it, request staff advice on community views regarding council's future role in community housing and time for consideration of the long-term plan. So that's yours, Nathaniel.
Yeah, I just want to make it.
Have you turned your mic on?
Just to make sure it's clear, I just want that to be maybe community and stakeholder. Just include making sure that community housing providers are included in that. But apart from that, yes, I'll move that amendment.
So hang on, what wording do you want?
So can we after the word community before the word views include the words and stakeholder? Yep.
Okay, so that's been moved by you.
Yes, I'll move that.
And seconded by Yanni.
Yep.
Yeah, Victoria. Yep.
So just to clarify, Nathaniel, you're moving away from wanting the questions in the annual plan.
Yes.
Yeah. So this will be that concurrent piece of work one, as opposed to.
That's right. So this is so we get that we get advice on ensuring that we get what we need in time for the LTP.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Yanni.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously my preference is to do it as part of the annual plan, but is there anything that would stop us from doing an SCP once we'd got this advice ahead of the LTP? Given that this is an outstanding resolution from last year, and this will effectively delay it another year.
You'd wait for the advice and then you could probably make decisions.
So that was the resolution that we had from last year's draft annual plan, but we didn't get anything back to be able to do that. With this one, when we do get the advice back, we could go for an SCP
We'll
if we
have to
wanted
see
to
what the
allocate
advice says.
resources.
That's social housing.
Social housing.
Sorry, Councillor, is that advice was provided on 17th of September 2025, and that requirement was met as part of that.
It wasn't a report with options for funding and consultation.
Okay, so we'll move on from that. Thank you, Bruce. So we're on to the improving Bromley's Road project budget is not deferred, and that's moved by Yanni, seconded by the Mayor. Anyone got any questions on that? Yep, so I've got Victoria and then Jake.
Just asking confirmation of that rating impact, please.
Mitchell's there, he's going to come up.
The rating impact on bringing that CapEx back to the 26-27 year is less than 0.01%.
Great, thank you. Jake?
Would the project happen any quicker as a result of moving the money around, or would it still happen in the time anyway?
That might be a Stephen question. Is Stephen here? Or Lynette?
Apologies, Stephen's had to duck out for a personal issue.
Just to clarify, the question is what changes for this project if the amendment passes?
Well, the amendment was, the change to the budgets was proposed to meet what we expected to be the delivery timelines. We will try, the staff and the team will try and deliver sooner, but it may not change it.
So you'll try and deliver sooner. You won't try and deliver sooner.
We will try and deliver
if
sooner.
This passes,
but there's no.
Pass?
We will always try and deliver sooner.
Can I beg, and just checking with you, Stephen was quite clear. The rumours that there's some very quick and easy work, minor work that could be done within that year. So does that?
Yep.
Okay, so then I've got Tim and then Victoria.
So
and then we'll move on. Yep.
So budgets aside, what is the capacity? Because if we're going to put things back or move things up, what projects and other wards will be put aside? Because we only have a capacity.
In relation to this, none.
Okay.
Yeah, there is capacity in the team.
Thank
There's already people working on it.
Cool. Okay, and Victoria. No, so, okay. So that's been moved and seconded. Cool. Then we've got 3, which is request staff report back on the community board prior to the option of the annual plan on rapid rollout options. That still haunts me because it reminds me of Park Terrace. Of the MCR from Pages Road to the beach, noting the annual plan movement. So that's your one, Sylvie. So that's moved by you. Yep.
Aaron's seconding it.
And Aaron's going to second it. Cool. Any questions on that one? No? Great. Okay, and then this is Mel. This is your one. Agree to not decrease the Strengthening Communities Fund inflation protection, but retain it at 2% as per the long-term plan, and propose to increase Strengthening Communities Fund inflation protection to 3.1. Is that what you're?
It doesn't happen if either of the two proposals to increase or decrease don't happen. That happens automatically.
Oh yeah.
Can't hear you, Mary.
So yeah.
Agree to increase it by a further 1.1, so it is a total of 3.1. Because what you decide in the your annual plan all relates to what's in your LTP, so you don't want to decrease it as proposed today, and you want to then put an additional increase on top of
the 1.9.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Tim's going to second that. Yeah, Victoria.
So we use that.
Might be out of battery.
Oh.
There you go. Thank you. So where does the funding come from for that? Is there a rating impact, or if you increase it there, where's it coming from? What's the impact, please?
It's about it's rates, and it's about $80,000.
And the rating impact?
Oh, less 0.001%, 0.1%. Yeah, it's very minor.
Cool. Any other questions on this? No.
Oh, no.
Okay, so let's go to the next one. So the draft annual plan consultation includes an option to decrease funding for the Canterbury Museum by 980,000 in the annual plan year, and we'll obviously just note the conflicts for David and Mel. Oh, you on the? I thought Tyrone was on board. Are you on the bell? Oh, David. No, it's David and who's seconding this? So Jake will... Hang on, guys. Hang on. Can we just... Guys, can we... It's really hard to hear everyone.
So I've got Councillor Cotter and Councillor McTurn as the mover and seconder, and Councillor Cartwright and Coker as conflict.
Yep. Cool. So it's been moved by Pauline, seconded by Jake, and noting Mel and David's conflicts because they sit on the board of it. Cool. Okay, so that's all of them? Okay, so does anyone want to debate these? Okay, so if anyone does, we'll get the timer up and we'll whip round, and then we're going to vote on them individually. You don't have to debate as well. Okay, but on that note, Pauline, you go.
Oh, on again. Thank you. I think all of these are worthy amendments to support. Particularly the Bromley one, I think we need to do everything we can to offer some signal of that we care about the Bromley people, so fixing the roads out there quick would be good. Just going to the museum one, the problem is that we've got the iconic funding in the consultation document, which I want to remain there, of course, but that does not give the museum any surety of any funding for this 26-27 financial year. If they don't have that surety and they need 980k from us for that piece of work, that will interrupt their pipeline, and there will be quite a significant cost to that of what I can ascertain around 5 million. So this is about giving them surety for 26-27, and by the time we get to 27 it will be an LTP issue as in the iconic option there in the CD. So I really would urge you to support that 980. It's CapEx and it's a very minimal rate impact. I'd say be 0.000 something, because 1% is 112 million. So there's very small rate impact, and it just gives them the surety for that project that is in train, and it's an incredible project for the city. So, and I think it would also give the Crown a good signal that when we're going for this iconic funding for the whole four together, that we are investing ourselves in this. So for 980k, just under $1 million, I think it would be a really good investment. So I really urge you to consider carefully supporting that. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to debate? Nathaniel?
Yeah, just on the housing amendment, the reason I'm putting this forward, and I'm accepting this, the staff view that we should do this as a separate process so that it's ready in time for the long-term plan. The reason I think it's really important is what I'm hearing from housing providers, and we sort of hearing this echoed on a national level, is that it's really important to have a really clear long-term plan and infrastructure pipeline for this sort of work. It makes the work a lot cheaper for housing providers if they have a long-term idea of when they're going to be able to get funding, when they're going to be able to get land that we're disposing. That's the direct feedback that I've had, that having a really, really clear idea of what we're going to be doing over the next 5-10 years is actually going to reduce the price a lot, really reduce uncertainty, make it easy for them to engage contractors. So I just think it would be really good if we had that from the stakeholders in time for the long-term plan. So I really hope we can get that passed. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yanni, and then Aaron, and then the Mayor.
Yeah,
and then we might, and then Celeste, and then we'll move on.
Thank you. I'm supportive of most of these amendments. I do think, just to go through several, just want to talk about the Bromley roads. This is a project that has repeatedly been delayed. This is not doing anything other than what the current time frame is. The proposed draft plan was to push some of the money out, but it's really important, I think, especially at a time when this community is suffering, that we actually don't defer funding, but we actually keep the funding that's already agreed to on budget to signal that we are going to invest in some of the things that can make a small difference to people's quality of life. So yeah, I hope that you'll support that. It's a very tiny, minuscule rates impact, and it enables, I think, us to do more in this community sooner, rather than have the risk of it being done later because we don't have the budget. I also want to talk about the MCR. Like, we just last night at the community board had an intersection safety improvement on Buckley's Road where potentially an MCR is going to go. But because we haven't sorted out where the MCR is going, then there's been no provision for the MCR. We renewed the curb and channel along Pages Road where possibly this MCR was going to go, but because we hadn't agreed on the MCR route, we didn't incorporate the MCR through this area. There are cost-effective things that we could be doing right now if we had a mind to do so, and I'm very supportive of looking at what we can do to have a quick rollout of some of these areas where we've currently got capital works or are planning to do capital works, so that we minimise the cost of the MCR and get some safer cycling infrastructure put in place. And finally, I just wanted to talk about the Strengthening Communities Fund and why I'm so supportive of continuing to inflation protect that. You know, time and time again, our staff have presented the data from the small investment we make into these community groups, the benefit that we get to the city's wellbeing. And at a time when the cost of living crisis is hurting a lot of people, at a time when we know significant communities in some areas are struggling, these community groups are doing incredible work with significant challenges in terms of resourcing and funding being changed from central government. That means that they are running on the smell of an oily rag, but actually our small investment does get a great return. And so it's, I think, a false economy to not inflation adjust it or to cut this fund. I think it's far better that we invest in our communities because it actually saves the city collectively a lot more than if we don't. Thank you.
Thank you, Yanni. I've got Aaron, then Celeste, then the Mayor, and then we're done.
Okay, I'll just speak on a couple of things because there's a bit of shock and horror around the table when my name came up seconding Celeste. People thought something had gone wrong. And it was because Celeste come and asked me and we had a discussion. This is to do a rapid rollout, which works out faster and cheaper, which is something we've all been asking for a long time. So that's why I 100% support a rapid rollout, and their board preference is that they don't lose parking along there. So this literally ticks every box of what the original cycleways were meant to do. So for that, I applaud Celeste for taking this particular route with getting it on the table, and hopefully we will see a rapid rollout. It doesn't, and it costs us a lot less. She's got some numbers that are a quarter of what we're paying for some of our heavier stuff. So once that's shared with staff and worked through, hopefully we see a really good result. So that's why I do that. So I'd expect that one to be unanimous. And then Sam, because it saves us money.
I'm still in shock, but
yeah.
that's it.
And then the other ones around the museum, that I don't support that. Something I've been saying for a long time around museums is museums are attractions, and attractions the world over make money. Like, museums should have a percentage of stuff that's free to get into, but then put in stuff that people want to pay to go to that helps offset your budgets. That's how you run attractions. And
hang on, let them, guys,
good,
come
actually.
on.
You see, and it's that kind of attitude that stops the growth of a good museum. And so they should be going along that route. I mean, this amount of money is $2,500 a day, and people can say, oh, it's 0.0000001% of a quadrillion-dollar budget. But that's our problem at this table. Our budgets are so massive that adding $2,500 a day always seems so small and just like a little amount of money. To the people that are really hurting at the moment, it's a lot of money. And so that's why I don't support that.
Okay, to wrap it up, we've got the Mayor.
Yep, okay, thanks, Sam. A couple of things. I went to the community meeting at Bromley Community Centre the other day when we were talking about odour, and I said on behalf of the council, we will do anything we can to help what's going on over there, because they're sort of right in the thick of it. So anything to support bringing forward doing up the roads over there. I will say that I'm very proud of the fact that the council have done Maces Road in the last year. It was a disaster, and I know Wickham Street and Frangelica Place are going to get the same treatment sometime in the next 6 months. So we are doing it, but if we can bring stuff forward, that will certainly help. I don't agree with Yanni on the curb and channel stuff on Pages Road, because the curb and channel just gone back where the old stuff was, and if there is a cycleway down there one day, it won't have any bearing on that. So that's that. And I don't really think that we should be. I'll go along with it, but the stuff for the housing is. OCHT is doing an absolutely fantastic job in this city. They're working with all sorts of places. The only thing that OCHT is missing, they've got the land, they've got the capabilities, they've got the plans, they've got the builders, they've got everything, they just haven't got money. So if we want to give them money, they will build one hell of a lot more houses. So we're lucky that we've got land, other outfits have, other councils haven't. So we're only going to get a report back telling us that it's good and we're doing the right thing. So I don't know the point of doing that. So other than that, I'll be supporting a couple and not supporting a couple more. But the main thing is the Bromley roads, that is important.
Okay, thank you. So let's get the voting app up, everyone. So get your voting dough. And we're just going to start at the beginning. Okay, so the voting's open on the advice on the community housing. Are you waiting on anyone? Aaron, does it come through on your... Okay. Okay, so voting's closed on that. We'll bring that up on the screen. That's approved. Cool. So the next one is the Bromley, improving the Bromley Roads project budget. So voting's open on that. Great, so that's carried. Excellent. Let's go to the next one. This is the rapid rollout that Aaron and Celeste are after for the major cycle route. Oh, the voting. So voting is open on that. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Keeping the faith. That's good. Okay. Okay, so we're up to the strength. We're up to the strengthening communities one. That's closed, and that's approved. Cool, and then the last one is the consultation on the museum, 980,000 capex. Yeah. So voting's open on that, and noting the that's been closed, and that's lost. Cool. Okay. So that's all right. So that's all them. What we might do is move to the consultation document, and then we'll go through that. We'll take some feedback, and then I just want to talk through, Peter. You'll need to explain to us the timings of all that and how that will work, and then and then after that we'll do the debate on the annual plan, and then vote on the annual plan, and then we're done. So consultation document, Peter, over to you.
You wanted to talk about the timings, is that right?
Do you want to just talk? Well, it'll depend. Do you want to just talk through the consultation document?
Sure.
And then, have we got Joss?
Okay, while Joss is coming up, look, what you've got is a work in progress. Obviously, we can't finalise it until this meeting's over. We know what your decisions are. So you've got a work in progress document there that ARMC has seen. There are obviously going to be changes coming through from today's votes. And there's been a decision about how we'll deal with the housing research as well. So look, there's a bit of work to go on that. And I take it you want to work through the major items as well?
Well, I think what's probably better is I'd quite like to just go around, if it's okay, go around the table. I'll start at Victoria. Actually, I started there last time. Oh, you're okay to start? Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to start with Tim and then go to Victoria.
Sure.
Yeah. So we'll go with Tim first, and then we'll whip around the room, and then we'll take feedback, because then I want to have a discussion around if there's the ability to delegate this to. My preference was to delegate it to Pauline, Victoria, Jake, and Phil, so it's sort of a blend of people after the feedback's taken. But then if that isn't the case, I need someone to tell me what happens, and the timings of
Can
this.
do.
So I'll put it to a vote. Yeah. I mean, it should happen, but we delegate stuff all the time. But if it doesn't, I just need to understand the timings and stuff. Okay, so Tim, and then Victor.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just on page 4, the Climate Resilient Fund, I really like the last paragraph, which really explains what we're looking at. But the first paragraph, the first line, climate change impacts, including higher temperatures, changing rainfall patterns and intensity, and sea level rise. We've done a lot of work on sea level rise, which is absolutely fantastic. Involves all of our area, which is really good, the work they've done. The rainfall patterns, we've worked a lot with retention basins, etc., buying out properties, and it is very prevalent with the news, etc., with the Northland. But what I'm really concerned about is the one that kicks us in the teeth and is our biggest risk is fire risk on the Port Hills. And where it says including higher temperatures, I just think is a wee bit, I would like the wording increased fire risk, if that would be, because this is the one, it's life-threatening. We have lost a life without, this is a big deal.
So Tim, do you mean instead of higher?
So, yeah, well, okay, just ask, but was there a reason for the wording? It's just, but if not.
Generally, everyone's comfortable with that. Yep. Cool. Thank you, Tim. Now, I've broken my rule when I was going to go around, but then I yielded to Melanie and said she could go next.
The reason I was waving is because I had some changes to that wording. I can't find the original.
My new wording?
No, not yours. I wanted to include Tim's, but I wanted to just say, sort of rephrase it to saying, rising global temperatures and sea levels, changing rainfall patterns and extreme weather events and increased fire risk, or something like that. Because we've got increasing temperatures worldwide, but locally it doesn't feel like that, right? But it is happening in a global.
I think keeping it simple and straightforward is best, but
Key theme in it is making sure fire risk is included in the.
Well, I'd like extreme weather events included.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's more important than changing rainfall patterns.
Is everyone generally comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Cool.
No, and as well as.
Yes. So I think, is everyone generally comfortable with that sentiment from both Tim and Melanie? Yep. Cool. Okay, great. Mark. And then you, Victoria, sorry.
Quite happy with the document, I think, but the one thing I wanted to sort of tease out was trying to make it as easy as possible for our more vulnerable communities that aren't digitally enabled to submit. And is there the possibility of having the a response form included in the back of the document?
Yes, staff are discussing that now and coming up with something that's after Councillor Johansson came through with a simplified form.
Cool, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. And I've got Yanni.
I mean, it's just on that issue, like just I think there's two issues which it sounds like you're addressing. So one is on the consultation document itself, you're going to have a submission form attached to it, but we didn't have that last year, I don't think. And then we did. Okay. And then the other thing is just like a 1 page or double-sided form that people can just do what you're working on, which is great. The one question I had was around different languages. I know when Di Keenan was here, she did show us an ability to have things translated, but I don't know where that's got to in terms of our website. But is there any ability to have these in different languages, or have on the council website the translation service that we used to have?
I think we would have to look at that, and just with timeframes, it's whether we would be able to do that. So I think it's something we need to discuss with staff.
Why don't we just circle back on that? Yeah. Yep. Cool. Okay, great. I've got Pauline and then Tyrone.
Thank you. Environmental Partnerships Fund. I was just thinking that look, it would be really nice to explain to people what the cost-benefit ratio is for that. I think someone already mentioned that. And when we get to that last paragraph, we recognise that pausing the increased contributions could have longer-term implications. I think we should say it will have longer-term implications, definitely. So I don't know if everyone supports changing that word "could" for "will", because it will have implications if we pause that increase.
But this is the pausing of the increase.
Yeah, but it will have implications.
Sorry, Mary's got some. Environmental partnerships.
Yeah. And then I just think it'd be quite good if we could somehow explain better what moving out means, because that was some of the questions that I asked. So it means to explain it's not actually deferring or halting a project. Is it? So it's 200 altogether.
Okay.
I know. Hang on, and one more. Is the MCRs as well, that what I brought up with the deferring of those MCRs and like the Northern Line, Norwest Arc and all that on page 11, if this is just a noting why that is, it's actually not deferring the projects. There's a reason for it. I just think it just can calm down some of the submissions on that if people think we're canning them.
It's just, like you say, the timing of the capital program.
Yeah, and so just coming back to that, and community grants as well could have a cost benefit noting in there that for every dollar the council invests, we get X back in some of these. So just noting that somewhere would be helpful.
Cool. Everyone generally comfortable with that? Yep, great. Tyrone, and then David, and then Celeste.
All I really want to say is that if we really want to convey information to the public as easily and clearly and transparently as we possibly could we please not use donut or pie charts in our consultation document, because they are just the worst thing ever for conveying information. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the feedback the team will be able to take on board or not take on board. Okay, David?
Just regarding the iconic buildings part, so it talks about the $86.9 million. What's the opportunity of maybe breaking that down? I mean, there might be some people that are keen to support maybe the museum or the cathedral, but don't really care about the provincial chambers or some of those other things, or the arts centre. Can we break that down and then maybe ask for, I mean, one of the ideas that had been suggested historically was doing some give a little page or something like that.
I know that staff are actually discussing this particular one at the moment and what's the best way to present this in the consultation document, so no decision's been made yet.
Cool, so we'll take that on board.
Because I wouldn't support that. I think we run the risk of having an open slather and a contest.
But I don't think so. We're not obviously not falling into the trap of writing the consultation document. But the general point you're saying, David, is how do we just be as transparent as possible with the public? Yeah. Cool. So generally comfortable with that. Noting Pauline's not Yep. Cool. Great. Thank you, David. Celeste.
This is on the Climate Resilience Fund. I agree with the suggested changes. I just want a little bit more information there about what the purpose of that is. So talking about in the page 18 of the agenda, it talks about contribute to an adaptation to the impacts of climate change and stability, contributes to stability of a whole of council climate response by continuing to provide leadership through the funds established in the plan. But the purpose of that is actually to save us money in the long term, because any ongoing mitigation investment into our assets will save us money long term. So I just want that to be clear. There is a purpose to it, and it's about preparing our communities now, but also it will save us money in terms of preparing our assets for that impact of climate change.
Okay, so we're clear in terms of just a bit more around that fund. That's good. Yanni? Oh, actually, Yanni, I'll come back to you because you've already been. I've got Jake and then Tyler.
I just thought on page 5, contestable grants, it would be better if it read contestable community grants, just to better explain what they are and where they go.
Cool. Then I've got Tyler, and then I think we're nearly there. And Victoria and Yanni.
Referring to page 19 of the CD, the top one, which is a compulsory Q&A, supporting the proposed average rates increase of 7.95. If they don't fill that in on paper, is the submission still taken in?
Yeah, they'll...
Yep, I think so.
Okay, so even though it's compulsory, okay. And that's mainly for electronic submission?
Yes.
The compulsory part of it, okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why that one's compulsory? Because we do get groups that are just coming in for special projects and things like that.
It's a good one to have compulsory. That's something, Joss, you'll be able to watch. Take it away. Yep, cool. Yep. Thanks, Tyler. Victoria, and then Yanni. And then I think we're nearly there.
Thank you. My questions were follow-ups to Yanni and Mark early on around the simplified form. Can it please be a downloadable document that is available either on the website or somewhere which is easily accessible for people to see? I think we did that last time, where on the landing page there was a button and you could just push it so people can download and print that.
I think
Please.
it's downloadable PDF.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because often the libraries run out of hard copies and we're trying to reduce the number of hard copies we do. The other comment I've got is generally the public don't differentiate between a submission and feedback. So when you've got the heading, how to have your say, you actually don't include social media and informal feedback under that. And I think it's just about how you pull all of that together, because giving some informal feedback and doing it on social media is still having your say. And I just wonder whether some further thought can go into that for people, because it's clearly an option that a lot of people are using on how they want to have their say. And at the moment, the way it's written is it just sort of shows like it's a separate form after
Okay.
how to have your say. That's my point.
Okay, got you.
Got me?
Yep.
Thanks, Jossie. That's
Great.
all, thanks.
I've got Aaron and then Yanni.
Yeah, where we doing the have your says this year, and how do we promote it?
Say again, Aaron.
Like how are we getting people engaged this year? Like yeah, that kind of thing versus
maybe what
how much
They're
is
still
online.
we're still sort of working through the engagement side of things and the marketing side of things. So, for example, we are working with our library staff to make sure that they know how to use the bubble tool, so that they can help people when they come in. That our engagement staff will be down there for sessions, which you'll be told about should you want to join. They could have sessions through the community board. The marketing, the engagement team would be there to assist. And we're working with our media buyer on the advertising side of things.
What we might do, Joss, if it's okay, is we'll just get like a memo outlining the
Yep.
engagement plan when it's finalised, because I know
Yep.
what you mean.
Yep.
We're very early in. So cool, good point, Aaron. And then, as I've got Yanni last, does anyone else have any questions? Good.
Cool. So just wanted to check. So online as well, like when people go to do the submission, could we have that simplified form as well? So like if someone doesn't want to go through and answer like the 20 questions, they could actually just fill out online the simple form. Great.
I assume so, but I'd need to check with staff.
Yeah, that would be great if you could just look at that. And then the only other thing from me was just concern around the tool and the ability for us to be able to export individual projects. So like I've gone on it and I can get a massive spreadsheet with lots of different things in small print.
Yanni, this is the consultation document though.
Yeah, but so for people trying to access the tool, I'm just trying to understand what is the way that they can get specific information about the project if they cannot access the tool. Like, are there going to be ward sheets at the libraries around what's being done? Are there going to be...
That'll probably come back in the memo around engagement, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So what you're saying, Yanni, is if someone's got a specific question that isn't necessarily in the quite limited consultation document that we have to provide, how do they get that information? Joss, can we just put that into the memo? Yeah.
Yeah, and also like if they can't access the tool, will there be something that shows the capital program in a way that they can understand it, or the capital projects in their area?
Okay.
We did do it before and it was quite good. There were just simple
I guess it's just
schedules.
It's that balance of, our biggest challenge is trying to get people to engage full stop, let alone digging into, if you said to them, go and look through our capital program, like, I wouldn't have done that before I even joined here, and it probably would interest me, but...
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think that's everyone's done enough feedback. Right. So now can we just talk through it? I just want to get a sense. Thank you, Joss. Don't leave it yet though. I just want to get a sense from the table, because if not, I'll get Peter to talk through the timings. Are generally people comfortable if we delegate this to Pauline and Victoria and Jake and Phil, just to, now that all the feedback's been taken, we'll make sure everyone gets a copy of it. Once it's done, but it's just there's probably some tight timelines to meet our 27th, 28th.
Yeah, if you go to the F&P of the 25th, there are knock-on effects that will come directly back to councillors. So I can talk through those if that's where you go.
Or can you just explain to me? I maybe take it like this: we've got David and Nathaniel. It's their first annual plan here. Tell us what happens from here if we delegate. All
right. Bear with. It's a bit mechanics, but I'll step you through it. If you go to the 25th to come back and adopt the CD, you adopt the things underpinning it and you adopt a CD. Consultation only starts when that CD has been revised, proofed, and is out at service centres. In other words, when the public can see it. That's when the clock starts. If you come back to the 25th of Feb to adopt the CD, you're effectively going out from the 10th of Feb by about 2 weeks. But there's an early Easter, and you can't really count public holidays as consultation time because people are away. So it's actually a bit more than 2 weeks. Then you have to allow for analysis, staff responses, hearings. In other words, you'll basically be about 2 weeks later than you would have been. It will mean that you will really only start your briefings on the final on about the 10th of May. So the corollary for you, the bottom line is your attendance at hearings will be compressed a bit, and your workshops to adopt the final will be compressed. So it will feel a bit back to back to back to back. It can be done. It has been done before. We've kicked off about the 6th or 7th of March before, but that's the natural corollary of it because the adoption date in June doesn't move. So you take time at the front, it doesn't move, it gets compressed. And the early Easter exacerbates the problem this time round. So it can be done either way, through if you choose delegation or by going to the 25th. But the consequence of that, I just want to be upfront with you, is that that's how that will play for you and for staff as well.
Yep. Okay. That's good to know. And can you just talk through, if we delegate, what that looks like as well?
Well, if you delegate, you're not then obliged to come back to the formal meeting, but it does mean, because you have to adopt the CD at some point. So you're adopting it provisional to the okay of the four. Yep. It means that you don't have to wait till the 25th.
Yep.
If you're happy with the document, you could go any time that you're happy with the document and you get time back.
So but it's a bit like submissions. We will take the feedback from today, pull it together, and then if we've just got the four, I won't be involved in it, but just the four going through it.
That's
then,
right.
But we'll make sure it's circulated to council as soon as it's ready as well. Joss, is that?
As long as it's clear when the decision to adopt the CD has occurred.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
And I presume you'll want to see it as a draft designed up version rather than a Word document, which you wouldn't be able to do in the short time frame otherwise.
Do you think if we do go down that path, maybe we could do like half an hour drop-in or something, just so that people can?
Yep.
Because it sounds like we want everyone to be involved. It seems like the timings don't quite work for the end of the month, or else we change the resolutions to push back the consultation period. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah. Okay. Nathaniel.
So I'm just curious about, so you've got that group of four. There would just be a majority, I'm assuming. Is there like a casting vote, or is that just a normal standing orders? It's like a committee, right, that would be delegating to with normal standing orders?
Look, we've never actually done this before. So my understanding of a delegation is that the council is saying that we have approved the draft annual plan and CD, provided that the group of four agree. So it would be
I think Mary's got. Hang on. Mary's got.
So I think it would be a majority of those four. So 3 out of those 4 would have to agree.
Okay.
Right.
But I mean, it's
not looking controversial at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think it's a rock paper scissors. If is that how it works?
Yeah. It's just and deliberately those 4 work together quite often. So it's okay. Cool. All right. Thank you for that. So can we do the consultation document first?
Probably adopt the draft.
Adopt the draft.
Yeah.
Excellent. So let's go now to we're going to come back to 7 at the. Well, no, we can't. We can't because we need to change the submission dates if we don't approve the consultation document.
So that comes after the CD.
Yeah, so we need to do the CD first.
Oh, this is just adopting the actual draft annual plan.
If you scroll back down though. But see how you've got the submission period running from 27th of Feb to the 27th of March. If the council are reminded to not delegate it.
We'll resolve that after the.
Okay.
So that's a separate block.
Right.
That's right at the end.
Oh, right. Okay.
If we go back up to.
You should just tell me what to do. It's just like. Yeah. Okay.
Rec 5. And can I confirm that 7.95 hasn't changed?
Yeah. So we'll just check the rates number to see if it's changed.
Peter, can you just ask Bruce or Mitchell to come forward and just confirm the 7.95? Mitchell's got a number for us.
based on the amendments that have gone up and passed, the rates number will increase to 7.96%.
Cool. Okay. Well, not cool. Certainly not cool. But 7.96. Okay. So let's debate this. Who wants to debate it? Or does anyone want to debate? Oh yeah, Melanie.
Look, I just want to encourage the public to make submissions. This annual plan is an amendment to the long-term plan, but it's also a lead into next year's long-term plan and the potential of rates capping. So the decisions that we make for this will influence the decisions we make for the following year and could change, make or break decisions that we can or cannot make. So I think just if you've got opinions, give them to us with lots of detail and get everyone you know to do it as well, because I think this is far more important than a usual annual plan in my view, just because of the potential of how much influences future years.
Anybody else? Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hey, we at the council here have worked hard to get this number as low as we can. I'm not entirely happy with 7.96 where it sits. It doesn't feel like it's quite where it needs to be, but hey, we're going out for consultation, so really the encouragement is to all of the people in Christchurch to pick up this consultation as it goes out, to let us know your thoughts and tell us what you think of what's being proposed. Do you agree with it at the level it's at, or do you feel that we need to really work hard and go further? So it's over to the people of Christchurch now with this consultation to let us know their thoughts, and we'll just hopefully get good feedback and rework it and get it back here at the table for confirmation late June heading into next year.
Great, thank you, Mark. So, and that's awesome. I've just had Victoria ask me, and I think the Med as well. So this is debate on the annual plan, the consultation document we'll deal with next as well, just so if anyone's aware. Yanni, did you have your hand up? Yep, cool.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I want to acknowledge that there's been a lot of work put into this by staff and by the elected members. So, I appreciate everyone's contribution. There's a few concerns that I have. The first concern is just want to address the property disposal, and this will be consistent with my previous position. I'm uncomfortable disposing of red zone properties in the Port Hills without talking to the people that used to live in those communities. I was the local councillor at the time, and I will never forget the hardship that those people were put in around the issue of red zoning and the way in which they had those decisions made. So for me, just as a matter of principle, I've always felt that if we are going to allow people to come back to those red zone areas in the Port Hills where people used to live, that the people that used to live there should be involved in that conversation. The other thing that I'm really disappointed in and have strong concerns about is the 1% rates increase attributed to the One New Zealand Stadium at Te Kaha. I just cannot believe, despite years and years of asking for a ticket levy, that we don't have a ticket levy in place. One of the reasons we were given was concern that that for the cheaper price tickets, this would somehow be a barrier. But actually, the suggestion that I put forward was a percentage on each ticket sold. So if you had a lower cost ticket, a lower price ticket, the percentage, the cost that people would be paying would be relative to how much the ticket cost. I cannot understand why only international events should be having a ticket levy. It seems to me that we've got a massive cost associated with the new stadium being built, and we simply have not found enough outside rates, revenue, to offset that cost. So I'm really disappointed in that, because I said this at the time when we approved additional spending for the stadium, that we needed to look at other ways of funding it. And when the most obvious thing, like a ticket levy and a ticket levy percentage, is dismissed, I find it really unfathomable that effectively many ratepayers in the city who will be struggling to pay their rates will have to be contributing and subsidising for people to go to events at the stadium, some of who will be paying thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars for premium seats and premium experiences. So yeah, I'm really concerned about the impact of the cost. I do acknowledge, thank you for supporting the Bromley roads. I do think it is important that we continue a focus on investing in the east there's not just the stench issues, there is the long-standing earthquake legacy issues with the munted infrastructure and the roads and the footpaths that still need a long way to go in terms of being fixed. And so, we need to, I think, continue to keep a focus on those. But that was my contribution to the debate. Thanks.
Does anyone else want to speak? We're pretty much there. I'm happy. Oh, Aaron, yep.
I'll throw in my 2 cents worth. Hopefully it'll inspire some people to come and submit. Probably doesn't matter if they do, because we won't change the number much anyway, if we're lucky. It's just what happens. It's only speaking from experience. But it'll prove me wrong. If we get hundreds of people coming in say to lower the rates, let's see what we can lower them by, because that's the feedback I get in the street. So if they turn up, I look forward to my councillors that are complaining at the moment about me raising the issue of us not listening to vote in support of lowering the rates. The current rate is 2.5 times the rate of inflation. So if I don't feel that's acceptable, if anyone here does, you're probably representing a ward that's paying a lot less rates than my ward is. My ward does a lot of heavy lifting on the rates. I think down when you look at the amount they pay, and feel free to jump online, you can punch in any address across the city and look at the variation in the rates. It is astronomical and quite unfair. Don't forget though, I'm pretty sure the highest rate paying house in the city is over $50,000 a year for one house. So there is a massive variation, and I have looked it up compared to where I grew up as a kid, and that's a couple of $1,000s a year. So there is a big variation across the city. We have to rein it in. I'd literally happy to cut everything except 3 waters and roading. Everything else I'd be happy to look at. So if people come in with suggestions, I know all our local libraries are open 7 days a week. I'm sure you could squeeze it into 6. Things like that. I mean, there's so many things we could look at. Happy to look at them all. So every suggestion that people out there have, bring them in, because my councillors sitting closest to me seem to be keen to vote to support your thoughts if you want to come in to lower the rates, because they listen.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, the councillor who just spoke could have raised any number of amendments on any of those issues, but didn't.
Is it you done? Okay. Andre?
Thank you. I just want to caution on being realistic about when we go out for these consultations, to point out what is actually going to be able to change as a result of people's submissions. Because if people come back and say we want this cut and that cut and this lowered and so on and so forth, we know that unless something's being consulted on, we can't then cut it between the draft and the final plan we do. So all that can really be impacted as a result of submissions is probably about 0.3% on the items that we're consulting on. So we need to be really realistic in what we're telling people that they say on and what they can influence with their submission, because they're actually really limited things as per the Local Government Act. So I feel like the expectation setting at the start of each of these processes for the last couple of years that I've observed has in many cases been unrealistic. It's all well and good saying people tell us what we should cut. We're not going to be allowed to cut it anyway because we haven't consulted on it. So we need to be really honest and upfront in how these processes work. It's certainly been learning for me. But the actual options between here and the final are very, very limited. And I hope that the next year's consultation document jumps to all sorts of extremes, because every question kind of has to be on the table next year when we're looking at rates cap and everything else. So I expect we're looking at a very, very different consultation document here next year. But I think staff have done a good job with what we've given them. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm just going to totally agree with Andre. I feel kind of somewhat disillusioned by this process. You know, I feel like we really can't make a major impact on this annual plan, and hopefully in the long-term plan we could make some real changes. But yeah, like I've said before, the thing that people raise with me most in my area is the continuing increase in rates, and it feels gutting that we can't make major changes, that we can't look at the size of the organisation, find out whether we're getting value for money in digital and all those sorts of things. So hopefully the LTP will be a place where we can do that.
Tim?
Look, I think the one thing that every ratepayer feels is that they are paying too much and it's too expensive. but that's the only thing they agree on, because everyone has an opinion and it's their opinion and it's perfect, and that's absolutely fine. But we have to look at the consultation that comes back, and we have to weigh our decisions on the feedback that we get. And the numbers may not stack up for certain ideas or whatever, but I think we as councillors have to be open to that and very honest about that, of why things didn't happen, rather than the ratepayers looking at our staff and saying, oh, you're not listening to us. We are listening, but it's just that there was some that had or more that had a different idea or a view than you. Thank you.
I actually really like the plain English in the CD. It's really good. I'm looking forward to seeing the graphics, and the one key one was the day in the life of, and we saw the times of when we were actually using council infrastructure. So the next one was around the balanced budget and that financial prudence associated to it, and I think we need to make really clear that because of the rating for renewals, and by 2030 we're hopefully going to be rebalanced, but I think that's really important to indicate that to the community. The other one I'm really surprised by and I'm really cool with was the business differential, and it's cool to see that. There was the Airbnb one, the 60-day guarantee is being wiped away. There's all these really cool things within there, but for those that are interested, they're obviously going to be interested in small parts of it. One thing I'd like to see, and I have been getting a bit pessimistic over the last 4 years, was actually engaging with our young people and getting them more engaged into council processes and the way that we do things. Even something as simple as just going to a high school and letting them know and give them a submission form. The one thing that we're seeing is a huge underrepresentation of people aged 25 and under. Unless they're homeowners, they're not going to be interested. But little do they know that renters are the ones that are quite heavily affected in my ward, of which 70% rent. So when rates go up, rent goes up. And cost of living crisis, obviously. Things are changing, obviously, at the central government level, and things are making it harder for our young people and those who obviously are working 9 to 5 and finding it hard to put some food on the table and get their kids to school. So I'm really interested to see what the feedback is. It'd be cool if we could get a bit creative coming into the long-term plan around our engagement with those communities, because we do a really good job in engaging with those over the age of 50. I think we could do better in engaging with those who are not so much. Kia ora.
Great, thank you, Tyler. I think we've got everyone, the mayor, and then I'll wrap it up.
Thank you, Sam. There's a hell of a lot of work being done by our staff to cut down on the capital program, so we're not actually charging people rates for things we can't deliver, but the long and short of it is we're not cutting our cloth enough. I'm anywhere near enough, and I'd like to say, I'm not happy with this number, but we'll get it out there, but I really want people to get stuck into us and say, we're not happy with this, let's chop it. I'd like to see 2% whacked off that number, and that's when it starts getting realistic for me. So give us heaps, and we're ready for it. Thanks.
Great, okay, thank you. Well, I'm happy to wrap it up, and just probably, I think it's just worth acknowledging all the teams that have pulled this together over since the election. If you think about where we started, we had an election in the middle of October. It means that we couldn't really get started till the middle of November. We had some very good workshops as a group where we could talk about everything. And I think everyone's reflected on how actually valuable they've been, sitting around as a group going, what do we like, what don't we like, and what can we change? So, I'd probably take a wee bit of exception for people saying the process hasn't been very good, because I actually think it's been one of the better ones from my point of view, where I think everyone, and Jake and I have jointly chaired this, we've made sure everyone has had the chance to raise whatever they want and get advice on it. I think there was some comments earlier about raising amendments yesterday. I think everyone seems to have forgot we had a heap of amendments prior to Christmas that we voted on. I wasn't happy with all of them. I lost one that I think kept a percentage on the rates, but in the end, the city voted for a compromise council, and we have to compromise to get something out the door to meet our legislative duties. The rates cap stuff is coming. We're going to be dealing with that towards the end of this month. So I think we shouldn't be thinking we're going to have to wait 2 years. We're looking at 6%, if not 5% next year, and for the year after. That's just the reality of this stuff, and we have got some choices to make. We haven't, kind of touched on, I think, the external funding as well. And, we've had some reviews undertaken last year, and they will come through to us ahead of this being closed as well. We haven't closed a lot of those significant decisions we need to make around what we externally fund, and that will come through as well. I think just finally, look, I agree with me. I'm not happy with the number at all, but I'm confident that that won't be the number at the end. And I think people have talked about the levers. Fundamentally, and I know we have difference of views, and I lost this at the end of last year, when we have a surplus in a year, we have collected more money from ratepayers than we needed to, we should apply that to rates reduction in the following year. So, and I've had advice on this, I can raise that in May and June as we work through this. I will be looking to use as much surplus that we haven't already tagged to reduce the rates increase as possible, because in a cost of living crisis, we have by definition taken more from people than we should have. It is only right to use it to that extent. We have other mechanisms that will pay down debt, some significant subventions that will come through from some of our new assets that are coming on board. So, look, I will support it today, but only in the knowledge that we have a lot of work to do to bring this number down, but we can do it, particularly with using our surplus, because we have overrated people and we should apply it. So, look, on that note, let's put this to a vote, and then we'll come back to the CD.
Can I ask
We'll
a
do it
question,
on
Sam?
voting.
Can you vote against one of the, say I want to vote against number B? Can that be separated out?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yep, the in-housing one, yep.
So to clarify, if we're doing individual votes like that, can we just note down those against? Because otherwise it will get quite complicated for
Yeah,
the
great.
Votendo.
So is Votendo going to just work? Are you going to do, is it 5 as a whole?
At the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll just note those against particular ones.
Okay, so we'll do 5 as a whole, but any individual against, if you just raise your hand and we'll get those recorded after
So is
the vote.
everyone clear on that? Cool. So the Votendo should come up.
So this is just for 5.
Yep, which includes 5, obviously A to F. Yep. How do we? We're nearly there. We're just waiting on a couple of people. Who's that? Oh, Celeste. Did it come through your phone? Right, so voting is up. So you got... So hang on. Yanni, you got your 1.5 million for Bronny Roads, but you won't support the rest of this. Wasn't that bloody great? Okay, so that's carried. Well, yeah, well, that's the point. But then a community loop... Oh, anyway.
And Councillor
Isn't that
Donovan,
just-
did you have an individual
B?
B? It's 5B.
Okay, so that's carried. I can't believe that. That is just hypocrisy at its finest. That is actually appalling. I find that disgusting. Okay, let's go to the consultation. Oh, let's put 6, please. Well, it's just ridiculous. We all make a compromise. No, we make a bloody compromise. We back the local councillor and he won't support the plan to go out and talk to the public. I just think it's appalling. Anyway, let's put 6.
6 is open on voting.
Yep. So voting's open. Yep. So how are we going there?
2 more. Councillor Moore and Councillor Kewen.
Andre and Aaron, just can you guys chuck your vote in? Okay, how are we going?
Councillor Kewen.
Aaron, has yours come through?
We can put that in for you.
It's just a pro forma one, so it's... Okay.
Yeah, we've done it for you.
Okay, great. So that's carried. And Yanni's... Oh, my God. Oh, well, I know the first amendment coming up for the annual plan. Yeah, well, it's just... Anyway. Okay, let's go to the consultation document. Yep, yep.
We've got a resolution which will...
So we're just putting up the consultation document resolution. Okay, so is everyone clear on that? there. So that, yeah, I'm happy to move it. Jake, you happy to second it? Jake's happy to second it. Yeah, sure.
Do we need to put a time frame into that particular motion?
No, because it'll come back in the next one around the 27th of Feb. So, yep, so we're all good. Yep. And we'll vote into that, I guess. So Yanni can vote against that as well.
That's open for voting.
Okay, so that's open for voting. Aaron, does it come through to your phone? Great, that's carried. And then the last one is I'm happy to move that. Jake, you happy to second it? Yep.
Start voting.
Great, voting's opened. Oh, it must be the Wi-Fi in Banks Peninsula. It's taking us like. Okay. All right. So that's carried. Excellent. Rightio, Sam. What do you need now? So I'll move. We reinstate standing orders. Jake will second them. All in favour? Against? That's carried. And then let's stand for the closing karakia. And thank you, team. Yeah, that's great. Thank you all.